Hi, I'm Blaine Rincon. I am from Atlanta, Georgia, and I am chatting with Chris Gordon on Hellblazer Biz.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and a wonderful good night wherever you may be in the world right now. This is Hellblazer Biz with your host as always, Chris Gordon, proud to be part of the BSPN podcast network as always. Today's guest comes from the phenomenal worldwide hit The Walking Dead, where he plays a saviour on Team Gavin. This gentleman has still got a lot more to be shown on his character, and it'll be interesting to find out where it's going to go to and hear about the gentleman himself, because this gentleman is an Air Force veteran, a US Air Force veteran. We're not worthy of so much respect for anyone who served, so this is going to be a fantastic conversation. I bring to you Mr. Blaine Rincon. So good evening, everybody. I have the honour and the privilege of the company of Blaine Rincon today from The Walking Dead. Hey, Blaine.
How you doing?
Cool.
How's everybody going?
I appreciate you coming on. I know it's we've had a bit of a topsy-turvy way to get here, but we're finally here.
We are. Glad to be here too. So
Excellent. Glad to hear it. And looking forward to chatting tonight. We've got some questions which have been sent in from people, and I think it'll be nice topics to talk around and find out more about yourself and see where we're going and see what's going to happen.
all right.
So I shall kick it off. Now, I was going to say, this is the one I want to get to me, because when people told me, obviously talking to me about yourself, you have been an Air Force vet, which obviously, firstly, thank you for your service, full
Thank
respect there. Is how many years were you in?
I was just in. I'd signed up for 4, but they had a little cutback, so I got out of here early. Still got out, in honorable discharge, so it's all good. I was an aircraft maintenance guy. Worked on F-15s back in the day, so it was quite the experience, though. Got to see a lot.
That's not bad. Working on F-15s. They're nice fighter jet then.
Yeah, it got me out. I got to see some of the places I probably wouldn't have gone otherwise. I was stationed in Florida the whole time, but I was with a fighter wing, so we went TDY to several places. Went to South Florida, went to Arizona, but one of the highlights was we went for a month to Germany. One of our planes broke on the way, and we stopped at Labrador out in the middle of nowhere. Then we stopped in Lake and Heath, and then we went on to Germany. We were only there for a day, long enough to get a couple of brews. So that was about it. Where's the pub? That's all we need to know. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Where's the pub? I used to live in Germany for about a year, so I love the place. Fantastic country.
And they had us down on a Canadian base, which is like very, very far south in Germany, southwest, and it was in the Black Forest. And it was beautiful there.
It is.
Great country.
It is. It's one of the most beautiful places. This Black Forest is amazing.
Yes, it is.
Highly recommend. Yeah, highly recommend anyone to get there if they can go there.
Yeah, definitely.
So you should work for the German Tourist Board now. Excellent. So obviously being in the Air Force, I was going to say RAF then. Sorry, wrong country. So that's right. Being in the US Air Force and things like that. How did you get into acting? Because obviously that's a completely opposite end of the spectrum.
I'd say that the one thing is that I'm one of these people. I like the mechanical stuff, but I'm also an artist. I've got an art degree. Fine arts, painting and drawing, University of West Florida. But ever since I can remember as a kid was something creative I was always trying to get into, as far as like doing something with mostly drawing, painting. And when I was younger though, doing acting was the furthest thing from my mind, because I was one of these people that was scared to death of people. I mean, you stand up in front of somebody, there's no way I would freeze up or throw up, one or the other, Yeah. But but it was doing something creative like that has always been something. So acting kind of falls into that. It's still
It
doing
does,
something
yeah, definitely creative.
and it's very challenging for me, especially being the way I used to be when I was younger, and it caused me to have to step out of my comfort zone, so to speak, because one of the classes that I took was very. We had I guess it was teaching us to use things other than just our head and mouth. So how because the body, when you're acting, you're expressing everything, and there was many times when they said, "Well, who's first?" And I was like, "Not me." I was like, and every time I thought, "Not me," I'd have to say it just to kind of break through it, and it was very unique. And my instructor at one time, she said that so, well, it was very good to know that you just jumped right in, you got right out of the box. I'm like, really? That was I'm glad to hear that. So, because I hadn't lived in Atlanta, but just I guess about 4 years. So the big thing was that I lived in Florida, job market not too good. I never even thought about down there as going into acting because you didn't really have much of a venue where I lived at. The only thing I had going was I was doing some artwork, and I used to watch The Walking Dead. Yeah. I missed the first couple of years just for the fact that it was on at a time when I was working usually, and I didn't ever get to see it. So I sat and binge watched to catch up everything. and then when I moved up here for work, when I got up here, I began to see how many opportunities there were for something like even simple as background acting, which is not simple. Trust me, there's a lot involved in that. And it did one thing was that it got me really a better understanding of how things work behind the set, understanding what the entire crew goes through. Being a background actor is a fantastic experience for everybody. But I got up here and found out there were so many opportunities. I was like, somebody said, "Well, why don't you try for it?" I'm like, I don't know about that. I mean, it's always didn't seem like a far-fetched thing to me. Then I realized that it's just down the road from me. So I finally put in for, apply and send in my headshot, let them see, and wound up being a little extra. The first thing I ever did was just an extra way in the background, and just kind of fuzzy guy. I can't even tell who I am, but I know I was there. The movie hadn't even come out yet, but I seen a little clip of it, and I'm like, oh well. But it was fun to say I was there. But that was my first set experience, and seeing how it's working. There was just so much involved with getting everything set up. And I heard people talk about how many shoots and how many takes it takes to really make an entire scene. And if you ever want, if you do any acting and you ever want to get into like a bigger part, doing the background work, you can kind of step back and see how everything works because you're concentrating on your lines. You're not trying to get into a character usually as much, but you have time to sit back and you can see the whole picture of how it all works. When the guy over here is setting up with the lighting, somebody over here is setting up with sound, and you have the actors are sitting over here kind of running through things in their mind, and they shoot the scene, and then they go back, break everything down, turn everything around, shoot the same scene again, then they break it all down, come from another angle, shoot the same scene again, and you're out there 10 hours doing that. But then when you watch the scene last 2 minutes, and it looks like the camera's over here, and he said something, and then he said like Jason Warner Smith plays Gavin, who's my boss in Walking Dead, and then we're at the exchange for the Saviors and the Kingdomers. And Ezekiel is talking, and Jason's talking. Well, it looks like he says, "Do you have what we have?" "Oh, yes, we have everything." Looks real quick. It's changed. And that was hours because they did the whole thing. Then they go back and piece it back together, and it's just. And then when you see the final finished product, you're like, "Man, how did they?" I would get lost trying to edit all that out. So.
No, here.
But there was a casting call looking for big mean guys, and I was like, I got 3 daughters, so I can be a big mean guy if I need to. Without boyfriends, so I have to play that part. So I just, you know, I guess I could play a big mean guy. I'm a big guy in the first place. You know, I take up a lot of space. So, I went to that. I sent in for that, and they sent it back and says that, can you confirm these dates? Are you available? I said, yes, I am, and sent it back and want to know my sizes. Sent it back, and then I got an email that says, welcome to season 7 of The Walking Dead.
Wow.
You know, I was like, there's kill me now because I've reached the top. Yeah, it was a really, I mean, it was exciting, and I've been on the set enough to know how to, you know, maintain a professionalism. But I'm also a giant fan of the show. And when I was at work, I'm the one that people say, hey, what happens when so-and-so? What do you think about this? And how do you think, what's Carol going to be doing here? And, you know, because I was the guy that always had the speculation and guessing and knew the background. I'd read some of the comics, so I knew what was kind of coming up. And
yeah.
So then all of a sudden, we're standing there, me and one of the guys named Brian, and like, we're looking around like, we're actually on the set of The Walking Dead. You know, we're like, it kind of blows me away. You know, so it's just amazing to be there, and it's very overwhelming, kind of humbling too, when you see you're standing just a few feet away from Lenny James, and he's a fantastic actor. Jason is a fantastic actor. All of them are. And I say, I've been on the set a few times, and rarely have I ever had to see them cut a scene because somebody messed up.
Yeah.
They just are so professional and good at what they do. It just didn't ever happen. We're like, nobody messed up. They just reshot just because they reset, and very rarely did anything ever go wrong with the actors doing their part. They were just really great at it.
That's fantastic. Yeah, great. I totally hear you as well when you say how many times it takes to film. I was filmed an independent film last year locally. It was my second foray into screen acting. I did one about 15 years ago with Michael Sheard, who played Admiral Ozzel in Empire Strikes Back and Hitler in Indiana Jones. He was playing Hitler. It was a documentary, but I was just a real actor at the time, dressed in German outfit, and that was basically lots of standing in the cold and waiting just for a few shots. But my first film was last year. It's called Is This Now? I'm plugging it now. It's out this. I've just found out it's coming to post-production. It's just finished post-production, so it should be out soon. But it was like I had about 20 lines as a featured extra, and which is great. I was overwhelmed. It was like, you know, but it was perfect because I was expected to be there from I think 10 o'clock and finish at 4. I was told. I got there at 10 and came out at 11 that night.
Yeah, one of the scenes, one of the longer scenes that we did, I think it was episode 713, when young Benjamin got shot. We started one of those scenes that we did. We got there, the sun was barely coming up. We finished, the sun was going down. It was 14 hours out there, and it was 90 degrees. Oh my God, it was hot. You know, South Georgia. You know, I mean, get here in the South, and Georgia is very hot.
Yeah.
And so we always had somebody over there. Hey, you guys need some water? You know, one of the girls was walking by spraying us, and the other guy coming up spraying us with water mist, making sure we're okay, checking us, and making sure we're not burning up in the sun. We're constantly being sprayed. I know a lot of times I've noticed that on there that you'll see some, especially like Norman Reedus, whenever he's in his Daryl character, you'll see him. He's like kind of gritty and sweaty looking. That's usually suntan oil, just to keep him so he won't just bake the sun. You know, because we just get covered in it because it just beats down on you so much down here. So.
Excellent. With being in Atlanta as well, are you going to do more acting classes or anything as well? Because I know I'll get to there.
Jason, who I've gotten to know pretty well, that's my own screen boss. He actually teaches at a studio on the other side of Atlanta, which has had some very good people come out of it. And I had talked to him. I was like, hey, look, you know, if I want to take some more, if I want to get in some acting, I said, where's the recommended classes? He says, well, I just happen to be an instructor at one of them. So teaches classes over there more at an advanced level, and but he gave me a recommendation to go check out some of the other instructors, and so I've been taking some classes. Got another one coming up. I'm hoping in June that I can start in, which is very fascinating. Talk about Ileana Marianis, and she is an excellent teacher.
Cool.
And she's very much into expressing yourself. We rarely have any kind of dialogue in her class. It's like a viewpoint. You know, it's talking about how you react with space and texture and sound and light. And it's the first couple of classes. The next day, I was popping some Tylenol because it was like being in a yoga class with her. Holy cow! The next day, I'm like, ow, everything hurts. You know, I thought we was in an acting class. I feel like I've been through Pilates or something, maybe some CrossFit or because it was hurting for a couple of times. So. But it was. I got where I was looking forward to it every week, and whenever we finished up the class, and hate to see it end. Made some great contacts there too. You know, there's some other people that are actually, you know, working actors taking the same class, and me just doing what I can. There's a couple of guys like me that were just finding what parts is available here and there, and we worked so great as an ensemble. It was really cool.
Excellent. It's not Drama Inc., is it, by any chance?
No, it's Robert Mello's studio.
Right, okay, cool.
And it's that's where we were at.
And I just know that I spoke to Catherine Dyer from Stranger Things, and she runs Drama Inc. as well, which is in Atlanta. So it's another one there as well. So I just wondered if it's the same one. It's probably quite a few now because Atlanta's becoming an up and coming. It's definitely becoming one of the main filming cities, to be honest, in the States. Loads of stuff's getting filmed down there.
It's an excellent place to be for, especially somebody like me that wants to do a little bit more. There's so much. There's opportunities. It just has a matter of hunting them down. I mean, you gotta get out there and make it happen. So it's not going to just walk up to you and just say, "Hey, here I am."
Exactly. I'm finding that with doing my show. It's you have to go out there and get them, and it's sometimes it can be hard work, but the rewards pay off.
Oh yeah, and I have just the experience I've had with The Walking Dead. The first time I ever had an on-screen appearance was episode 702 from this past season, and it was like surreal. I'm standing there with these great actors, and here I am, part of them. The second time in episode 710, I didn't show up so much. I just kind of peeked over Gavin's shoulder, and I was like, and Jason's like. So maybe does that kind of help you understand you need to move over and get in the camera. I was like, I got it. You know, learning experience. But 713 was not only did I have a lot of fun with that. It was hot, a lot of work, but seeing the scenes that we were in was just fantastic because I hadn't seen that much screen time up to that. Not to mention the fact that even if I had not been in this also, it's still one of my favorite episodes because it is such a continuation to me of the episode Clear from season 3. Yeah. Whenever Morgan had the crazy Morgan we had seen had lost it, you know, and it was it tied back into that so well, and you can almost see that old Morgan just coming out and just about to break loose again. It was an excellent episode for that. I was just everything about that one was really good. So probably my favorite one for the season was that.
All right, excellent, fantastic. It's just great listening to someone talking about it because it is a fantastic show. It's just
yes, yeah,
and passionate about being on there.
Oh yeah, and you know, and I'm hoping it, and we didn't get killed off, you know, so I'm looking forward to coming back.
Yeah,
maybe a little bit more. And if we get killed off, somebody said, "Well, what if you get back? You get killed off right in the first episode." I said, "I hope it's something really epic." I mean, like, you know, like Daryl with the rocket launcher. You know, hey, you know, if you got to go big. You know, but I was like, even if it's something else, I you know, there's always the possibility we could turn into a walker or you know something major like that. I hate the way we just. I don't think it would be the kinds that we would just fade out. Hope for something good. So, or maybe a little bit more showing. So who knows? There's so much potential with everything on there. And then I'm also hoping for you know more to come, not with just The Walking Dead. Maybe something on the same lines because I love that style of movie, that genre of the horror, science fiction. post-apocalyptic type stuff is some of my favorite genres in the first place.
Yeah.
I really like to get some more of that going, because that was. And then when you do that, on top of that, the more you show up, the more you're likely to show up at like the Comic Cons, small ones, any of those horror fests and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Though that's like, if you're in that type of genre, you really have a good following for people that like that kind of thing, and that's just another outlet of meeting more people. And I've gotten to where I love to meet people.
Yeah.
Not so much when I was younger. Like I said, it used to scare the hell out of me to meet somebody new. But now it's like, getting a chance to meet. I've met some fans. We have a local pub that we had viewing parties there, and it was we had some of the fans come out. We got to meet them. It was fantastic. Getting some pictures with them, hanging out. There's a picture of them. Not to mention, one of them was a surprise for the viewing we had for 713. We turned around and didn't even know that these guys were in town, but Cooper Andrews, who plays Jerry, and then Logan Miller, that plays Benjamin, they walked in. And I heard we were out there, so they showed up. So we're with all these saviors, because we had some from saviors that played at the Sanctuary, some that were, with us, and then some on the road. Yeah. All showed up, or some were at Hilltop. We were all there. We had about probably 10, 12 saviors there. And then here comes Cooper Andrews, and then Logan Miller walks in, and then some of my followers from Twitter showed up. Met some new people, and we packed the place out. We had a great time. It was awesome. So, but it was little things like that is what really, to me, really makes it more of a personal type show, because it's not just like you watch it, okay, that was cool, and you turn it off and you forget about it. It's part of life. And then us, not to mention the fact the saviors, we're all kind of like, hey, we're saviors for life. This is cool, If we get killed off, that's the way it goes. Even Martinez showed up that played Davey from there. He even made it out there for that. It was really great being out to all those guys. So
fantastic. I know you mentioned the guy getting blown up with a rocket launcher, Christopher Berry. He's been on this show as well.
Yeah. I was like, that was an awesome scene too. I mean, you got to admit that was just and especially because we were sitting there watching it, me and my daughter, and couldn't wait for that episode to come on. And then all of a sudden, the blast, and we're both like, "Oh my God, did you see it?" And we just really get into it when we're watching it. But that's like an epic moment, So we love that one.
Yeah, that was a good moment. But, I've got a quick thing. Has been Gay Martinez sort of saying you've got a love of cats as well, which I've noticed because I've seen one padding behind you every now and then.
The one that was behind me is, I call him his name's Cooper. It has nothing to do with Cooper Andrews. It's just. But I call him my bro cat, because he follows me everywhere. He's always down here. And then I've got another one. Well, it must be feeding time, because I just had two in here, and they just, boom. My daughter's feeding them. So, but yes, I got 7 cats.
Wow.
I've got 1 dog and a bearded dragon.
Nice.
My oldest daughter just bought a little snake, which against the wishes of some of the people in the house. I'm okay with it, but she's keeping it at her boyfriend, so everybody's a little bit okay with that. But, the bearded dragon, a lot of people on Twitter know her because I posted a picture, and somebody was nice enough to Photoshop her out and place her. She's been on the Eiffel Tower. She's been on the Leaning Tower of Pisa, and several other things. I'm looking, I said, oh, look. And my bearded dragon, her name's Betty. It's actually my oldest daughter's lives. And look, Betty looks like Betty's traveling the world again. There's another picture of her on a building somewhere. So that's cool. So she's been all over the place apparently. At least on Twitter she has.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Can't go wrong with that. You also love.
I do have, I'm sorry.
Carry on.
I do have a very soft spot for animals, and I'm not as involved with charities like I like to, but what I have been has been with the Humane Society, and I really encourage people to adopt a pet if they can, because they need homes too.
Oh yeah.
And there's also a couple of Gay Martina. She has a cat that we talk about because I've got one that looks just like hers, and I know her well, and she adopted hers from a place over there. I can't remember the name of it, but I'm sure she'll be glad to let you know.
Yeah.
But there's little groups that do put out a lot of effort to trying to save these animals, and I'm really glad to see that more of that happening.
Yeah, definitely.
That's where I got all mine. All of mine are rescues. And I think I've got too many of them, but hey, I'm okay. I like them.
That's fair enough. No, we get a lot of those over here as well. We support one locally to us, which is a rescue. And all our cats that we've had and dogs have been rescue ones, because I strongly advocate that. Don't go to a pet shop, go to a rescue centre.
Yeah. There's a couple of stores around here that have pets and they're not so much you can go in there and buy them. They have a center set up inside the store that are rescues, and it's really good. They work in conjunction with some of the rescue centers and humane societies here, which is really great. My daughter volunteered for a year doing that, and that's where I started getting involved with it, was going with her. And you see all these animals, and you always wonder, I'm glad to see, for everyone that you see there, you wonder how many didn't get found. And but I'm glad the ones that were there did get good homes, and it's always nice to see that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's good. I'm just thinking of the snake now, that's all. My sister used to have loads. My sister used to have...
Okay, the problem with me is if it's got legs. Once you get past 4 legs, I don't want it touching me. And we were on set one time, and it's one of my more prouder moments of my life, I'd have to say, because I have a fear of spiders. Those things just freak me out. And the worst thing I could think of that could possibly happen is during this is one was to walk behind me. I'd scream like a girl, and it'd be recorded, and you'd never hear the end of that.
Don't worry, but the same for me.
we were on the set, and this is one of the, I think it was, we were working on 713, and Daniel Newman was standing over next to him, and I looked over. He's wearing, he's from the Kingdom, so they're wearing the pads and the body armor kind of thing. I looked over there, and there's a little white spider crawling around in his shoulder pad. I just looked at his automatic, I was like whacking, I knocked it off. And I was like, and he looked at me, and I'm like, there's a spider on your shoulder. He goes, oh man, I thought we were like having a moment or something, I was like, no. He said, so I'm glad you did that though, because if I'd have seen it, I'd have screamed like a girl and ran. I can't believe I actually did that. I mean, because you talk about people stepping out of their comfort zone. That's probably the biggest I've ever stepped out, was swatting a spider with my hand, because that would never do that. Yeah. Still can't believe I actually did that, but yeah.
Well, our cat, I think it was last week or the week before, our cat was funny because we sat in our living room and there was a spider. It must have been about that big. We get big wolf spiders in the house, and it was just running across the floor, and the cat, I didn't realise because the cat suddenly went I thought it was on the wall then, sorry, it was a picture hook. It just frightened me. Yeah, so there was actually, but the cat was like, the only reason I caught my attention was looking at it. So I went down to have a look, and the cat followed me. The cat went up, saw the size of it, and just ran off. It's like, seriously, if a cat's scared of it, then, what chance have we got?
Yeah, the cat looks like, oh crap. Yeah. Oh no, I'm not, you take care of that.
It was pretty funny. Cool. I've got a question from Jean Mercer. She's saying, thanks for your service, first of all, again. Who's the biggest prankster on the set of The Walking Dead?
I wouldn't say there was actually one particular prankster. We didn't really get a lot of them going, but we had a lot of laughs out there, and it was always something saying something, somebody make a remark, and it was soon as there. But it's neat to see how we can have some laughs, we can cut up, and then as soon as they say roll them, and everybody automatically turns it off, and they're total professional. But then as soon as it's cut, then somebody, one of the things you didn't see much of it was in episode 710. We're unloading this jeep of car batteries and watermelons, which is the offer. You didn't actually see that. I was really disappointed you didn't see that, because I unloaded those car batteries like 15 times, and I dropped. But there was also these watermelons, and Kari Payton was over there going, man, why don't we just let me get a knife? We got plenty of knives, just cut those up. We're going to have a picnic. And I was like, I'm all for it, man, because I'm about whipped here. So, but no, they all like to cut up. They all have a good sense of humor. Everybody seems to get along great out there.
Yeah.
but when it comes time to being professional, they are all total professional, which is really a testament to them. And I'd also like to tell Jean thanks for talking with me when I can. And she's got a son, Nick. Got to say hey to Nick. Nick is one of my top-rated fans, and I'm really glad he's out there to be able to see this. So I'm looking forward to. Hope I can meet him one day.
Excellent. There you go, Nick. She does say as well, thanks for being so amazing to your fans, which I've got. I've seen how you are with everyone, and it's great to have that interaction. So.
That's what I say. I hope I can get on with some. I'd like to be able to go to some cons. I meet so many people. There's so many. The Walking Dead family is probably the best out there that I've run across, bar none. There's a lot of people are followers of shows, followers. They're fans of movies, but Walking Dead is family almost. I mean, it's like, hey, yeah, we all have a kind of come together on things like this, and it's really fantastic.
Excellent here. Okay, Simon Barry Brisbois is asking, have you? I mean, I think you touched on it before. Did you ever get to read the original Walking Dead comic books before you went on? What was your impression of the comic compared to the TV?
I grew up reading comics. So Walking Dead comics are fantastic to me because it's another one. This is what's up, kid? As far as comics, I mean, when I grew up, my mom ran a small convenience store. Now it's it wasn't her; she was just a manager. Now she retired from this after 30 plus years. So I grew up in a small convenience store which had a magazine rack and a comic book section rack. And every month we get new ones in, and I'd be first one. I'd go through and I'd pull out all the Swamp Things, the Iron Man, and then anything with horror in it, and I'd sit back and just get a stack of them. I'd just sit over there and read while she's at work. Drink a drink, read the comics, and then we also had the bigger magazines at that time, which is like probably I always called it the precursor to graphic novels. Just the bigger illustrated magazines, comic books in the magazine rack, like Conan the Barbarian, always one of my favorites. The artwork in it was like one of the things that got me doing art was I was drawing from the comic books, and that kind of helped out. Conan the Barbarian always had a little supernatural feel to it, a little science fiction feel to it. Then there was these other magazines called Eerie. There was another one called Creepy, and I love those kind of stories. I guess that's one of the things. I'm one of those. I've always been a kind of a nerd on science fiction stuff. So, and monster science fiction, the whole works. It just fascinates me, and I love that stuff. But the first time I've seen the Walking Dead comic book was after the Walking Dead started up. They said there's a comic book with us. I had no idea, so I'm at the bookstore looking for the graphic novels to go with this, and so reading through them. And every now and then, my girls, whenever it comes up something to give me a gift, that's what it gets. The understanding of it, and I like reading and finding out who's doing what, and I was really impressed this past season. The first half of the season, a lot of people were talking about how they weren't sure about it, but it followed the comic book so well to me. A TV adaptation of these comics was really good to me because I was like, I know what's going to happen. Oh, he did do it, and just so.
Excellent. Cool. No, that's great. As I say, it's I've got to say, for the beginning of the series, I think it was the gruesomeness of Negan in the first episode was like, oh. But,
that was. I heard a lot of people talking about that, but I was just wondering. We were sitting around like we do at work because I'm also my daytime job is a graphic designer, and I work with 8 other people too.
Yeah.
And the best way that you can describe that is that we're all a bunch of nerds. I mean, we are. We're designers and artists. I mean, you're going to wind up with a good group of nerds half the time. So we're sitting around like we do sometimes talking about either Star Wars or Walking Dead or Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That's just our topic of conversation over there.
Yeah.
But we're discussing how things were, and somebody brought it up and said, they were talking about how gruesome it was. I said, but did anybody remember when the governor chopped off Herschel's head, or whenever, we're like, yeah, well, there's been a lot of gruesomeness in the past. For some reason, it was just so hyped up this time. Mostly probably because it was characters that have a big following. Because Michael Cudlitz plays Abraham.
Yeah.
I'm going to miss him because I never really met him. I mean, I seen him on set one day and that's about it. But those one-liners from Abraham, that's really going to miss that. I mean, I used to love his descriptions of it. Loose ends make my ass itch. Those kind of things. That's something that, to me, really lighten the mood sometimes. And it's to see an apocalyptic zombie show and then have a few laughs along with it is kind of odd, but it was good. That's what I'm probably missing most is all some really good Abrahamisms or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, no, I liked his character. I did like his character a lot.
Yeah.
Well, that was a bit of a shock. Cool. Also, from an interview you've done on TWD, I can't even speak. Sorry, TWD fan site. When you've obviously you've mentioned it during Archutton as well, with the fact that you are an artist at heart and that's what you started out at. Simon's also asking, do you have a personal website where you present your work among other artworks as well?
I did, and through my own carelessness, is let it go. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to set up on Facebook I'm going to try to do a Blaine art area on that, so there'll be like a Facebook page for that at least that people can get to, and I really do. I had a domain name and all, and it was, and when I let it go, and I was like, oh, I should have done that, and I had some artwork on there. I had it all set up nice, and circumstances beyond my control at that time. Just like I said, you got to make a cut somewhere. That's one of them. That's one of them. Here's one. That was one of them. So. But, got to get back in the swing of things, and things are starting to pick up a little bit. So, a lot to do it again. When I get everything going, I will definitely post it on Twitter. And that's where you'll find me most, is on Twitter. But I'll put it on there as a link that announce and that I do have a website back up again, or a Facebook link, one or the other, whichever one works out best for me. The Facebook page will be more or less just a bunch of my drawings, a bunch of my artwork, and that's pretty much all it'll be. Yeah. So.
Fair enough. Sounds good to me. Excellent. And do you have anything coming on the horizon? Anything else?
No, I mean, I'm pretty confident that when the filming starts up for season 8 of The Walking Dead next month, it usually starts around May.
Yeah.
Pretty confident at some point I'm going to be back involved in that. Looking forward to it. I mean, don't have any word on any of that yet, but whenever it happens, I'm be really excited about that. I'm gonna say I've got another acting class that's coming up in June. I'm hoping to get back into that. So that's only one day a week, but it'll give me a chance to work around with some people too. It's also a great place to network with other actors, find out what they're doing, threw out an audition or two on just a video that I made and sent in. But I hadn't heard nothing back, and right now I'm still very patient about getting that, and I'm going to be trying to probably get a little bit more and more into that as the season comes along. And because we kind of have a season that goes on. During the wintertime, it does slow down a lot.
Yeah.
Once you get past the first of the year, it starts picking back up. And right now I'm seeing casting calls for background actors for different things and speaking parts, and that's what I'm really working on now, is moving up in a little bit further into a little bit more. And it's just a progression. You tend to take small steps at a time, and I know at one point I don't want to rush it. At the same point, I also want to jump in while I can. So it's kind of a two-way street there that you have to kind of juggle, so to speak. So
excellent, fair enough, excellent, sounds good. And it kind of brings me to the end of my questions, sadly. But is there anything you'd like to say to your fans? Because I mean, you are a fan, a lover of your fans, and obviously fans love the interaction. So
I do. I really hope I'll meet more. Look forward to it. Of course, I was always one of these. We've been going to the Walker Stalker Con here in Atlanta since the second one. I went here for the first one, where I had just missed it actually.
Yeah.
And we always go to that as a fan, and we love doing that. Last year, the first time that I was on screen was going to be that night. And at Walker Stalker Atlanta that night in the convention hall, they'll show the episode. If anybody that wants to just come back and just sit and watch it on the big screen, which we did last year, it's really a lot of fun to sit with several hundred people that are as into The Walking Dead as you are, all reacting to the same things that you react to. That's a lot of fun to do that. And I was planning to do that this year, and I knew I was going to show up, but my daughter didn't. And I had filmed in May, and I still hadn't told her by this time in October that I was going to be in The Walking Dead.
Right.
She thought I was playing some part as like a gang member of some biker thing, and she come in kind of ruffling. Oh yeah, I was a biker. It was a little extra. She got, and I was really hoping to let her see it there, but we had a few hours before it was going to be around. It was in town. There was a Atlanta Falcons game going on. It was crowded. So we'll just go home. So I came home. We sat and watched it, and my other daughter knew I was going to be on there and went and got my youngest one that was the big fan and brought her up. So who's that on TV? She goes, I don't know. He said, no, right there. She goes, I don't know. What am I? Oh my God, you're in there. And then she backhanded me. Got her video, got her phone out, and and she looked at the screen, and she looked back at me, and she looked at the screen, and she's like, I can't believe you were in there, and you didn't tell me. And then she hit me again, and I'm like, oh, you talking? I'm a savior. You're not supposed to abuse me, you know. I'm supposed to be the bad guy. And my 15-year-old was beating me up, but it's all. I love my kids, so it's all good. I do want to. I want to get to some cons, meet some people. That's the other thing. If you would, the way we get invited to cons is requests from the fans. So that's just one of the things. Just write to them, say, hey, if not me, Jason, Josh Michael that plays Jared. Now on TV, yeah, he's kind of a douche, but man, in real life, that guy's really cool. Yeah, he's something that people would really like meeting him because he's good. Jason is a great guy. Everybody, my entire group of saviors that I work with, are all of them. And we're Gavin's team, and Team Gavin, and it's like Brian Porter and Todd Stubelt, J.D. Hahn, Mike Konanek, and then myself, and then there's Gavin. And we like to think of us as that we're the strong arm of Gavin, and we're all badasses. And ever notice if you're watching him on screen, he plays relaxed characters, and he's a little irritated, kind of like a dad with a bunch of kids, because I think that's the way he looks at the kingdom. They're just irritating kids that he has to deal with. But he doesn't really worry about his safety. He walks up, his hands down on his gun, he walks up and talks calm because he knows we're behind him. And that's what the character we feel like we're portraying, is that we're the badasses here to watch him, and he can just be himself. So really like doing that, but then when you meet all the guys in our group, we're all, JD Hahn, he's 20 plus years law enforcement, and worked out real good. Mike Konanek, he's a independent business owner, and but he loves working with stuff like that. Brian he's worked in several films, and Todd, he's been on more extra parts and little featured parts than I can imagine right offhand. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Todd is also a black belt, so in real life he is a badass. So, cool. I like to think we're all like that. So, I'd like to see all of us show up for a big savior panel. That would be great. That would, doing stuff like that.
That'd be pretty awesome.
To meet more people. Yeah, I'd love to meet some of the people I've talked to on Twitter. I'd like to meet new people that I've never met. Stuff like that is really, it goes a long ways with us. And I've had somebody just say, man, I saw the show and I seen you in it, and it was just really cool to see you there. And that just meant a lot to me. And it's not about money from our parts. We just really like doing that, and I'm looking forward to just doing that again because it was really cool to be able to be a part of this thing. I'm part of something big. I can look back years from now and still say I was a part of that, and that's pretty cool, in itself. So, I hope I can meet a lot of the people out there, and I'm looking forward to each and every one of them. So,
thank you very much, Blaine, once again for your time. Thank you for your service again. I'll say that to you. Can never say that enough to people. And I appreciate all the answers that you gave. It was a fantastic conversation. All those who sent questions in, thank you very much. I hope you got the answers you were looking for. And for those who are just listening in general, I really hope you enjoyed today's show. This has been Chris Gordon on Hellblazer Beers, part of the BSPM Podcast Network, saying good night.